right, so I might have just discovered the absolute best car to use to drive for Uber and for Lyft, okay? I put a lot of research and hours into looking up cars, test driving different cars, researching online, and I'm gonna tell you guys the best advice that I can give you guys from all my research, okay? Before I jump in, if you're looking for a new way to make money, there's an incredible opportunity right now to make money on TikTok Shop. If you don't know what TikTok Shop is, basically you can make money promoting, making little videos, 30-second videos promoting products like this 4-in-1 retractable car charger. You charge your phone like this. When you're done with it, it goes back into place. Make little videos like this, and you can make thousands and thousands of dollars per month. I have a link below. When you sign up, there's a 30-day free trial, and I teach you exactly step-by-step everything you need to do to set up your shop and start making money. This is another product that I promote, and you can actually get these products for free too. They'll send you them for free. You can use them, keep them, and make little 30-second videos with them and make money. Okay, if you're not doing that, what the heck are you doing with your life, okay? There's so many easy ways to make money. Walk around. Everyone's addicted to their phones. They're buying stuff on their phones. Why not get a piece of that, okay? You can make 10, 20, 30 grand a month doing TikTok Shop. I know it's crazy, but hey, that's the world we live in. Check it out, link below. Don't be a boomer and try out making money on the internet, okay? It changed my life. That's how I was able to buy a house and buy be able to buy, I mean, this is not a fancy car by any means. But I just bought this car in cash for $5 grand off Facebook Marketplace. It's a 2011 Ford Escape, which leads me into my video title. What is the best car for Uber and for Lyft? Okay. We're going to take two routes here. Okay. And I'm going to tell you two amazing options that you have to getting a car for Uber and for Lyft. Okay. Number one, I would say, the best piece of advice I can get you is buy a cheap used car off Facebook Marketplace. Find somebody. So this is basically what I did. I bought this car off Facebook Marketplace. You can roast me all you want. It's a 2011 Ford Escape that I got for $5,200. I paid, well, I actually got a cashier's check for it. So I didn't give him cash, but I did a cashier's check, just basically cash. Went to the DMV. Well, let me back up. I test drove like 5 to 10 different cars. My budget was like $7 grand. There's so many cars out there for under $7 grand on Facebook Marketplace. It's ridiculous. With under 100,000 miles or around 100,000 miles, which honestly is fine because cars last till 200,000 miles, 250,000 miles now. So that was my budget. I test drove a Jeep Grand Cherokee, a Ford Fusion, a couple Ford Escapes because I really like Ford Escapes. I was looking for a 2011 or 2012 Ford Escape. Actually, that's what I was looking for. So I started test driving those, and I was like, oh, let me see what else is out there. But anyways, I ended up going on this one. This guy listed this car for $6,500 or $7,000, 2011 Ford Escape, and I said, hey, I'm interested. Let me come try it out. And I went and test drove it, and we ended up negotiating down to like $6 grand. But I wasn't like, $6 grand is, it's still a decent chunk of change. I mean, I honestly probably would have still bought it at $6K, but I didn't buy it right away. I was like, yeah, I'm going to try a couple other cars. I'll let you know. Anyways, I came back to him like a month later. I go, hey, you still got the car? And he goes, yeah. And I go, what's the lowest you'll get rid of it for? Like right now? And he goes, $5,500. And I go, let's do 5,000. What about 5,000? I actually kind of said it in a nice way. I was like, would 5,000 be way too low for you? That's the question I asked him. I go, would 5,000 be way too low for you? He's a really nice guy, by the way. So it was, it's cool to like buy it from somebody who's nice and not just like some random. We didn't have any mutual friends or anything, but like he was a local guy, and he's a young guy like myself. And so anyways, I go, would 5,000 be way too low? Kind of laughing. And he goes, how about 5,200? I was like, honestly, probably could have gotten him down like 5,100, but I was like, you know what? 5,200 is a great deal, bro. Like, I was like, yeah, I'm down for 5,200. I didn't even negotiate after that. Cause like, we still had I wanted to do another test drive. I wanted to get the car inspected first. And, I wanted to just make it make it worth his while too. So I told him, hey, do you mind if I do another test drive? Because it's been like a month since I drove it, and I drove it because really what I wanted to do was this time be like, yeah, I think I'm gonna buy it. Let me really listen into this. So I drove it around for like 30 minutes. I drove it around town. I drove it around. I took it on the freeway, and I went past like 3 exits. I drove it 75, almost 8, not 80, but like 75, 76, 77 on the freeway just to like, feel this car. I'm going to be driving this car for years. I want this car for 5-6 years. I want to make sure it's going to last. So I drove, I was like, damn, this thing accelerates well. It sounds great. Everything's great. And I go, perfect, awesome. I go, here's what I'm going to do. I want to get the car inspected. If it passes the inspection, I will buy it that same day. And he goes, all right, sounds good. So I took it to the Ford dealership because, dealerships, they always find something wrong with the car, all right? Even if there ain't nothing wrong with it, they find something wrong with it because that's how they make money, right? By servicing your cars. So I took it to the Ford dealership and I go, hey, I want to do a pre-purchase inspection. They're like, it's $200. I go, fine. That's extremely expensive, but hey, whatever. So I paid them the $200. Actually, it was $225. But for me, I was already pretty much set in buying the car. It sounded great, and I was like, $225. There were other places that did it for like 75 or $100, but they didn't do like everything. Like Ford, they're gonna take the car for several hours and look at everything, like check everything. So I was like, I'm sure I could have found a local mechanic, but quite frankly, I don't have a mechanic right now that I trust, that I know of. So I was like, whatever, I don't mind paying the Ford dealership. It's more official that way. And I was like, the seller is probably more fine with it too. I was just like, dealerships, they're easy to work with. They're pricey, but yeah, I don't usually get my cars worked on at dealerships. But anyways, got the inspection, was done, and it passed, and it was clean. And I said, okay, let me go get the check tomorrow, and let's meet up. And boom, I got the car. I went and got it. I took it to the DMV, did the transfer title. I think it was like 2 days later. Got insurance. Insurance, $60, guys. I now own this car. After DMV, after inspection, after the price, I was fully out the door for like, let's see, because the registration and the sales tax was like $600. So just slightly over, all in, a little over $6,000 after taxes, after registration, after title fees, everything. Out the door, everything for a little over $6,000. That's not bad. Not bad at all. And now my insurance, and I paid cash. And now my insurance is $60 a month. And by the way, I just got it inspected. It just had an oil change. And so now I'm pretty much set, and I have this car. There's nothing wrong with it. Now, if something was wrong with it, I probably wouldn't have bought it, but that's neither here nor, or I would have used that to negotiate it even lower, basically, basically have him pay for whatever was wrong with it. But I'm glad that didn't happen because it just, went smoother that way. And the guy also just put in new brake. Like, this was the perfect like example of how to buy a cheap used car off Facebook Marketplace. And if you want to use it for rideshare, this would be the perfect car. I'm not using it for rideshare because I want this car to last like 5-6 years. But if I did use it for rideshare, this would be perfect because I could use it. I could drive 50, 60, 70,000 more miles on it, and then go and resell it, probably list it back on Facebook for like $5,000. And I'd probably have somebody buy it for like $4,500. And literally at the end of the day, I only lost, $700. Honestly, I'd probably relist it for like $5,500 and try to get somebody to buy it for $5,000. And then at the end of the day, I'd probably only lose like $200 in equity. That's probably what I would do. Or even sell it for like the same exact price 2 years later. But I'm going to keep it for like 5 years. That's my plan. And, just keep fixing it and putting, money into it, getting, doing all my oil changes and getting brakes, tires, all that stuff. Hopefully nothing majorly gets wrong with it. But anyways. So that's one route you can go. And for when you're buying used cars like this, you want to make sure you're doing very, very popular car brands that every mechanic knows how to fix. Ford. So look for an old Ford Escape. Look for an old Ford Fusion. Ford Edge or whatever those ones are. Or Explorer. I like the Ford Escape because it's an SUV, but it's like a compact SUV. It's like mid-size SUV, so it like doesn't require that much power like an Explorer does. Because the more power the engines, you know, the more it's gonna break down. Toyota Prius, like Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, those brands I feel like are good. You want to stay away from BMWs, Mercedes, Range Rovers, like cars that, you know, break down a lot or costly to maintain. Like, don't go out and buy a Lexus to do Uber and Lyft. Like, you're gonna waste so much money in maintenance. It's like not even worth it at that point. So that's one way to go, one route to go, and get that used on Facebook Marketplace. Get the inspection first, then buy the car, and negotiate, get a good deal, and set a budget, right? Whatever you're for me, I could go out and buy a $100,000 car right now. That would be stupid though, but I wanted to buy something for like $5,000, and that's what I do, and I love it. It's like peace of mind. So that's one option. The other option is get a Tesla, because there's a crazy opportunity right now to buy a Tesla for cheap. I don't know when you're watching this, but at least right now, Hertz, the car rental company, they bought like 100,000 Teslas, I believe, like 2 years ago. I don't know if maybe they bought more, but they bought a crap ton of Teslas, and now they're offloading them to the public, because they realized after like 2 years that Teslas are the worst cars to rent out, because when the car, like, let's say there's a crack in the headlight, right? If you got a Ford Escape, I could take it to any mechanic and boom, they'll probably replace the tail light or the headlight, or I could do it myself. I could order the part off Amazon, replace it. But with a Tesla, you got to take that thing to a service center, and that thing's going to be sitting in there for weeks. Or like if your window doesn't roll down, let's say that your window stops rolling down. Well, they can't rent out a car with a broken window. And again, you got a Honda Civic, okay, boom, take it into the local mechanic and they'll fix it within the day, probably a couple hours. If your Tesla stops, the window stops rolling, they got to take it to the Tesla service center. Again, it's in there for weeks. So anyways, that's the reason why Hertz is offloading a bunch of their Teslas, and they're offloading them at a really good price. You can buy right now like a 2022, 2023 Tesla Model 3 for like 20 grand. And not only that, guys, there is a tax credit you can get where if you make under $75,000 per year, and please confirm this with the CPA, by the way, okay, this is not tax advice, but if you make under $75,000 per year, you could, I'll just say you could potentially, so I don't want to get anybody's, make any promises here. You could potentially qualify for $4,000 tax credit. Meaning that $20,000 Tesla that's only 1 or 2 years old is now you're getting it for 16 grand. And I don't know about you, but 16 grand for any 2-year-old car is an amazing deal. Not to mention, this is a Tesla Model 3. And if you have I would only do this, by the way, I would never buy a Tesla if you don't have an at-home charger. Only buy a Tesla if you have at-home charging, because you do not want to be going to a supercharger. Pretty much ever. Going to a supercharger is just like, doing them, relying on supercharging sucks, okay? I've been there. I actually rented a Tesla for like 2 weeks just to because I was really considering going that route, but I ended up going against it because I was like, I didn't want to deal with all that stuff. And what's it called? And I have an at-home charger. I have at-home electric charging. I actually ended up getting it installed at my house because, like I said, I was pretty set on getting an electric car. I might get one in the future, but for now, for the next couple years, I'm not. But I still have that option if I ever need it, or if any friends are visiting, I'll let them charge my car and run up my electricity. It's actually pretty cheap. But what was I gonna say? You can, if you can use obviously the supercharger here and there, and if you're going on like a long road trip, like I went to Palm Springs, in a Tesla. I drove there. It was like, 2 hours or a little over 2 hours. I charged it while I was there, and then I went back home. It's fine for stuff like that, but for everyday use, you want to make sure you can charge it overnight at your house and wake up with a full charge. So those are the options, guys. And if I would also, if you're doing the Tesla route, go to hertzcarsales.com and type in Tesla and filter from lowest price to highest. And then also go on Carvana.com and you can look up the Teslas there as well. And both of these platforms, guys, they have 7-day return periods. So you can buy the car, and if you don't like it, they'll return the car. Like they'll take the car back, and you're off the hook. You don't have to like buy another car or something. You can they'll buy it back from you. So anyways, so basically the cars, in my opinion, the best cars for Uber and Lyft in summation is getting a cheap, used, reliable car with around 100,000 miles on Facebook Marketplace for like under $7,000. They are out there. There's tons, or around, I would say around 100,000 miles for under 7,000 or 8,000. There's plenty of options. Get it inspected first, negotiate with the buyer or with the seller, and pay cash if you can, or you can, get a loan for a private party car, by the way, if you just go to your bank or go to a credit union. If you want to get a loan. I don't recommend ever going into debt for a car. That's why, I think that's a good option for a lot of people, is if you can buy a $4,000 or $5,000 car in cash, save up for it first, and then buy that car. That way you don't have a car payment, and your insurance is probably going to be cheaper too, I believe, if you own the car. I could be wrong about that. Don't quote me on that, but they do. I know when you do sign up for insurance, they always ask you, do you have a loan on the car? I think they want to make I don't know. Maybe for gap insurance. I'm not really sure. But so that's the option. And make sure it's a, reliable car like Honda, Ford, Hyundai, Toyota. Probably stick to one of those four, honestly. I wouldn't get like a Mercedes or BMW or like a Lexus or any of those other cars. And then, or the Tesla route. So let me know if either of those options you would consider. That, just in my opinion, that's my advice. After, again, doing tons and hours of research, and even renting cars. What I do, guys, before I buy a car is I rent the same exact model, make and model, and year off Turo. I try to find it off Turo. That Turo has so many. You can literally search the exact year, make, and model of a car, rent it on Turo. And what I would recommend is renting it for like 3 or 4 days first, drive it around, live with it, see if you love it. If not, then you move on to the next car. Because I've heard so many stories of people buying cars, and then they're like, after they drive it, they're like, I hate this car, I want to sell it. And I'm like, you could save yourself so much hassle if you just rented one on Turo and tried it out first. So anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts. And again, if you're interested in signing up for the TikTok Shop program, you can use the link below, and I'll show you exactly what you need to do. Again, this is just one of the products you can make videos with. It's a car charger, and it's perfect because if you're in the car, you can make videos in the car with it. This is a digital camera, and people are making thousands of bucks a month with it. So check out the link below. There's a 30-day free trial right now, so you can try it out. And if you don't like it, you can cancel it. Otherwise, guys, thanks for watching. Take care. God bless. Talk to you soon. Bye now.